We've been talking about this change for the last couple of weeks. We now feel very comfortable to make this big announcement.
Right, this is another exclusive AccuWeather announcement. Our experts are forecasting no widespread California drought for 2 years. This is a big deal. The economy and quality of life for people in California, much of it depends on the water.
And we don't make this decision lightly. We want to show you why are we making this decision. The science behind the decision, again, there's a scientific basis for this, and you could see our criteria. It begins, John, with the reservoirs, which were in fantastic shape before the winter season even started, remain above historical averages.
They sure do. Take a look at the big ones. Shasta and Oroville, 114% and 132% compared to the historic average, and all the rest of them near or well above 100%. So we're in really good shape with the reservoirs.
And then you add the fact in that we've had enough precipitation. Let's take it one by one. Let's talk about the rainfall here across California. Again, water season, the wet season begins in October. Here are the amounts as we started the month of March.
We have had impressive rain in many places, as you know, from multiple storm systems. And look, each time here, the observed rainfall amount from October to February has been near or above the historic average. So that's a check in terms of the rain this wet season.
Now, John, what was really holding us back from making this announcement earlier was that the Sierra snowfall was running behind schedule up until this weekend.
It sure, well, right. We were watching that very, very carefully. And of course, we've had a blockbuster blizzard in the Sierra that has really accelerated the snow amounts. Look at the snow amounts at the beginning of the year, quite meager as we headed toward the start of 2024. But look at what we're dealing with now. Significant snow in the Sierra. This is great news as we head into the spring and the summer melt season. This snow is all going to melt and replenish the streams and the creeks and the reservoirs. Excellent news.
And as we go forward, John, and again, this came straight from the long-range forecasting team headed by Paul Pastelok and the crystal ball, Joe Lumberg. While we're not looking at any huge storms, perhaps, March looks like it'll be wet enough.
It will be wet enough, more opportunities for mountain snow, and that's going to add to those already significant totals.
And John, one thing you always have to worry about when you have this much precipitation is the greening of California. You have more fuels, and you're a little worried about this as we move forward.
We are worried about this because with this abundant precipitation, plants and grasses have greened up. They look beautiful. It hasn't been seen that way in several years in some areas. The problem is, though, that as that dries out, as we head into the spring and into the fall, grass and other shrubs can dry out quite quickly. So especially with a little bit of wind, the risk for wildfires from a grass fire and shrub fire will increase. So we've got to watch this during any dry periods and especially when there's a little bit of wind.
And, you know, one final word, we make this announcement carefully, and we also want to add this little nugget in at the end, John.
It's really important to think about water as a precious commodity. Every drop matters in California, and even though we're going to be expecting a lowered risk, no risk for a widespread drought over the next 2 years, water conservation efforts and innovations around water supply still very critical because that last point, drought will return to California. It's just a matter of when. That's always been part of the climate in California, and with climate change, we see those periods accelerating.